Carlton, put yourself in the position then. 84th minute.
Yeah.
World Cup quarter-final, so much hanging on it.
Yeah.
Carlton Palmer, who of course has worn the shirt of England before, you're going to take it.
No. No, listen, the only thing I would say with this, right, I know people say, oh, well, you shouldn't miss a penalty, right? The pressure that Harry Kane was under was immense. The only argument I would give for this, right, he scored the first penalty and it's his teammate, right? And I would have probably argued that maybe he shouldn't have taken the second penalty.
Because it's Lloris.
Because of his Lloris. I think if he'd been anybody else, he would have slotted the second penalty. You know, but this, you know, you have to put this in perspective, right? Everybody's saying, how will he get over it? Listen, he's missed a penalty. There's worse things happening in the world today.
Pretty important penalty.
Yeah, it is, but there's worse things happen. Listen, I'll go back to when Chris Waddle and Stuart Pearce missed penalties. If you were going to have two people that you would put your house on, mortgage on, everything. I've never seen Chris Waddle nervous. I've shared a dressing room with Stuart Pearce for England. I've never seen him nervous. And if those two can miss penalties in those kind of situations, then anybody can do it. They're the two most coolest customers. I mean, you know, Chris Waddle will be sleeping in the dressing room before kickoff. It's not a thing to him. So I think it's a pressure situation. It's happened. You know, obviously it's disappointing. You have to show your character.
And you'll bounce back.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to show your character. You know, and that's what quality, and that's why you're a top player. You would say, or people would argue, that he's probably our only world-class player. So in that respect, he'll bounce back.
I mean, what you didn't say the other day, Simon, was that Harry Kane's a bottler, but you did say at that moment he lost his nerve.
Yeah, I mean, he succumbed to the pressure. If this is the moment, this is the time, this is the opportunity, then you have to take it. It differentiates people. You know, Mbappe's 23 years of age, takes 3 penalties in the final, scores them. Messi does the same. Yes, Messi's missed penalties, but not penalties that have determined ultimate outcomes.
Yes, he has in the Copa del Rey.
Okay, well, you know, that may well be one instance where that's an exception, doesn't necessarily prove the rule. My view, very simply, first of all, I couldn't care less if he recovers or not. If he hasn't got the mental fortitude to overcome something that he created for himself, that's on him. I personally think that was a moment where, you know, whether it's the goalkeeper you play against or not, you know as much about that goalkeeper as he knows about your penalties. So you know what he's likely to do as well. So that cuts both ways.
Yeah.
The fact is, if the goalkeeper had made a world-class save, I'd have turned around and said, well, you know, that's the way that one goes. If you hit it over the bar at a moment, it wasn't going to win us the game, it was going to put us back in the game. So we must get some context. And there's no doubt, there's also no certainty that the French wouldn't have come back again and got another goal. It's because they've already done it to us once before. But I do think, if you're going to be at the top of your profession, if you're going to demand the kind of returns that you get from football, when it comes to these moments, if you don't take them, then you've succumbed to the pressure. If you've succumbed to the pressure, that is an element of bottling. I know the football world doesn't like it. I know it doesn't like it alongside the word expression. But unfortunately, in any other walk of life, you would be told that, hang on, you've succumbed to that pressure.
Yeah, but Simon, bottling would be not being prepared to take the penalty again, or not being prepared to step up to take the penalty. I mean, remember, if you go back to '96, if you look at the players who refused to take penalties, Paul Ince being one. Gareth Southgate took one and missed one because he was prepared to do one. Senior players who you would have thought, right, go on, take the penalty, have chose not to do it.
What about her is irrelevant. The point is that the guy took up. I understand the point, which is if you had refused to take the penalty, that makes you the ultimate bottler. Yeah. If you step up and take the penalty and you succumb to the pressure, then it's degrees of an inability to be able to cope. That is a choice that you make. When you walk up to a penalty spot, I couldn't do it. But I wouldn't be if I was a professional footballer on £300,000 a week at the top of my profession, then I would suggest that I could do it. But I'm not. So I'll suggest I'll do other things that are my forte. He didn't do it. And so I look at it and go, it's no major crime in the great scheme of the world that we live in. But you've got to call things for what they are. You've got to turn around and say, that's really kind of not good enough to blast it over the bar. And history will always tell us, Simon.
You're right. History is always there, and it will tell us on that occasion he and England missed out.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.